go live. If you'll count to 10 this time, maybe I'll get the delay timing right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say go, and then you count to 10.
Okay. I'll do my breathing exercise. Welcome to Hive Space. You have found yourself at Twitter Spaces, and Twitter Spaces is the home of Hive Space. Hive Space is where beginners, newbies, people that have gotten started, and people who know how to explain Web3, blockchain, and particularly Hive.io in plain English. So the decks have been scrubbed. There's no mansplaining in the house. There is no stupid question that I haven't asked or that I wouldn't be just outright jealous if you thought of it and and I didn't. So I just want to welcome everybody. I want to welcome my two co-hosts and our special guest tonight is John G. Olson of Views, and he'll get to tell us about that. But first, my talented co-host, Shadows Pub. Shadows, how are you and how's your week been on Hive?
Not bad. We're 10 days into the year, and I have posted 10 days in a row. And by the way, little secret, John does more than views. So poke around and find out.
Yeah, I saw something about CPT. Jennifer.
Oh, there's
Amongst
more.
there's
There's
more.
more.
Oh, and there's lots,
Yeah,
lots more. Well, I
yeah.
a little bird told me that that there are enough categories of deep learning that John has done that we can bring him back to the show if we treat him right. We can bring him back to the show to talk about these other things. And as one of these philo-math multi-passionate people myself, I totally honor the deep rabbit holes that we can go in. Just because there's more than one hole doesn't mean it's not nice, right? And I
Oh, and by the way,
yeah.
John is the only person in the room who has actually met Shadows.
Oh yes, yes. In real
Oh
life,
Oh,
my.
don't
yes, she she
are
Oh.
she does exist. Yes,
are
yeah. She's not AI.
if you're lying, you're dying.
Yeah, no,
He's
no,
not lying.
You
no. She
have met
exists.
shadows.
Yep, yeah. In Toronto, in what was it, 2018? Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
yeah. For Steam creators.
Well, for
Oh
Steam
boy.
creator.
Yeah, yeah,
Steam creators.
yeah. We'll call it. thing called Steam, and it just made total sense. I remember me and Blaine reading the white paper, blue paper back then, and it was the whole brand of it was tokenizing the web, and we're like, yes, yes, exactly, that's exactly what we need. So started just digging in, learning and learning and learning, and one of the first things that we did was I guess I kind of got on the circuit and started going to all the Steam events I could, and one of them was in 2018 in Toronto, and that's where I met Shadows. And since then we've just basically put all of our attention and energy into building on the blockchain. All of our Most of it, not all, I'm not going to say all, but most of our apps, most of our platforms have a Hive element to them now, because we've basically said we've got to teach people that this is the future of everything, including affiliate marketing and online marketing. So there you go. 5 minute
There you
life
go,
story.
indeed.
There
And
you
look who came into the room, John.
go. Who's in the room?
Jennifer. I see Jean-Luc.
Oh yes, yes, yes. My favorite guy down in the Caribbean. He's always got better weather than me, and I'm very, very,
You
very
want to
guilty of.
introduce Jean-Luc for us? And then we will hop right back in. We will weave this conversation right along. And I know that Shadows has some things to go with right there. But yeah.
I don't know whether Jennifer's with us.
Oh, I am so sorry. Jean-Luc, yes, he is the one of the founders of Hive Chat, and he also does the social media Suriname, does a show called Social Media Confos that he does with a co-host. This guy's everywhere. He's amazing. So yeah, Jean-Luc, and he's hosting Hive Chat right now.
Right now. How about that?
He's
Nothing like overlap.
multitasking. He's multitasking.
And so were you. You're like, wait, what? So do you think, John, like if that craziness hadn't happened with PayPal, would it have been a bit longer before you would have gone into the crypto pastures and really it sounds like you became quite enamored with how different this is, how what being decentralized opens up for people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that if and I always say that PayPal was the worst thing to happen to my business and the best thing to happen. If they didn't shut us down, we wouldn't have been looking anywhere else. We would have been totally happy, because you got to remember, 17 years of having a PayPal account. You're buying mortgages, you're getting mortgages with your PayPal account, you're funding entire lifestyles. I lived off of PayPal, so I was totally comfortable. Here's PayPal, it loves me. It doesn't love you. It doesn't care about you. It's a behemoth, and they just shut you down. So if they didn't shut me down when they did, I don't think Blaine and I would have even been looking in the crypto direction. And I'm grateful that they kind of did shut me down, because we've basically been all in on Hive now since. So
And
yeah.
so how long okay, so what was going on when the hard fork happened? Because you were there right before?
Right. Yeah, like we were, see, I know Shadows will laugh at this, because she kind of went through this too, but it was a really weird time, because everyone was kind of like, "Oh, Justin Sun, this is weird." Um, and then all of a sudden, everyone starts this backroom conversations, and then all of a sudden, Steam it sells their shares to Justin, and then there's witnesses are doing this, that, and a third. Someone who was there through it, I was just I was always pro people. I was always like, wherever the community goes, that's where I'm going. If we're gonna do this and say that we're decentralized, say that we're, a true decentralized blockchain, and we're a community, then we have to do what the community wants. And the community spoke. I mean, it wasn't a little whimper, it was a scream, like, we're not gonna take this, and literally forked, and here comes Hive. And then it was all the apps basically came over. I think Splinterlands kind of took a little bit of time, maybe a week or two, but basically day one, everyone was like, "We're moving to Hive," so it was a no-brainer for us.
While a beginner still has a chance to ask a question here, let me ask you, so if, say, Twitter
Mhm.
were Steam, what would be, for those of us that are just new to the scene, what would be like an analogy of what that was like, what Steam was like, what how the people's voice were heard. What would that look like if that happened with Twitter today, for instance?
Oh man. Well,
That's a tough
yeah,
analogy.
yeah, because it's like, you were getting censored on Steam because, like, they all
Oh.
had the witness votes and they were downvoting everyone to oblivion because if you didn't go along
Oh.
with someone, and so it wasn't to the levels that, Twitter, obviously just user base alone, but Twitter can mute accounts and they can blacklist accounts and they can do the whole thing. With Steam, it was still on the blockchain. So even if you ranted and raved, it was still on the blockchain, but they could fork your account out, and they did with the witnesses they had. Like, there was a whole bunch of top witnesses that are on Hive now that got all of their Steam basically put to zero because they just went against the entity that was Justin Sun.
So
So
was that anything like what happened to you and your business in PayPal?
yeah, I mean, PayPal literally just
It's
sent me an
almost
email.
exactly.
Yeah, PayPal just sent me an email and said, "You're done. Like, that's it. You can't call anyone. Don't even try, and you have no recourse. And good luck to you."
And so
Yeah,
so that
very
was
similar.
happening
Yeah,
on Steam and
right. But
people
yeah, and people just like they were just. It was more like because the way that you know delegated proof of stake works is you get your stake in a blockchain, and then you get to vote for witnesses, which are basically the government, let's say, the people that keep the blockchain up, and you have your top 20 and you got your one extra, and Steam, when I say they, I mean Steam, basically created it where they controlled all the witnesses, so the witnesses could make changes to the blockchain and no one could do a thing. And that's obviously not decentralization. That's like PayPal shutting everyone down. They can decide whatever they want. So it was completely against what Steam originally was supposed to be. And that's why Hive is so important, because I can have one Hive powered up or I can have a million Hive power up. My voice is still there, and it'll be there forever as long as there's a server running the blockchain. So,
Yeah, it's immutable.
yeah.
That's what's so awesome
Yep.
about it. So,
Yep.
John, mentioned, or Shadows kind of alluded to the fact that while we have you here to talk about views, which
Mhm.
is fabulous. We had you on a Hive chat not too long ago to do the same. This
For sure.
obviously is better because you can expand upon it and really give more detail
Mhm.
in relation to that. So I kind of feel like Hive chat and Hive space are like the 1-2 punch around the Hive blockchain to amplify what's happening through Twitter, which is
For sure.
amazing. So when you talk about all of those different aspects, when you moved over to Hive after your big PayPal debacle in the affiliate marketing world, and at the time, granted, it was Steam, you
Mhm.
developed one something. And then you thought you were like, oh, I should do this other thing. And you developed this other something. And then
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I should do this other thing. And you develop this other thing. And so talk about that kind of that constant development mindset of building these things, because it seems to me that the reason that you're building these things is because you are like, "Boy, it sure would be cool if," or "Boy, I wish there was," and then you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna build that. Let me find someone who can build it with me and let's go." Is that your mindset, or is that just my own perception of your mindset?
Yeah, I mean, Blaine is amazing. I mean, he's been my business partner now for, over half a decade. And Blaine, like, completely new to this when I was too. Like, we didn't know anything about code at all. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. He did PHP stuff, and he did, but he didn't do blockchain stuff. So this was all new to him. And what again, in the white paper, in the blue paper in Steam, they said tokenize the web. And when you say something like that to an entrepreneur, that just gets the gears going. And that just got me and Blaine going back and forth, going, what can we build on this? And Blaine started chipping away, started learning the code, learning the blockchain, learning everything about it. And it started with just basic tutorials, just like we were, Click Track Profit, for all its bells and whistles, was basically a training platform. It taught people the basics of internet marketing, affiliate marketing, social media marketing, and we just expanded upon it. We just plugged in solutions on a blockchain level. So instead of going to, sound weird because we're on Twitter, but instead of going to Twitter, go to Dbuzz. Instead of going to YouTube, use ThreeSpeak. Instead of using Medium, use Peak D. And then it morphed from the training into more like, let's build things, let's build applications. And one of the first things we did was the Hive Guide, which was an A to Z tutorial about how to get started on Hive, what powering up means, what, just everything from a complete newbie way of looking at it. Like, we wanted to take people from A to Z on the blockchain, and we did that. Then we got into more business stuff with HivePay. HivePay was our big, stick it to PayPal kind of thing. Like, so, it's simple copy and paste where you can basically put an API button right on your website and start accepting Hive, and all the different Hive Engine tokens as well for payments. So we did that. We did the big rebrand of Listeners, which was the first ever. We called it blockchain-based email marketing tool. And then Views was kind of secretly my baby that I've been bugging Blaine about for 5 years now. But yeah, we continue to build stuff. I mean, we got stuff coming out left, right, and center, and it's just because of that one thing in the blue paper that said tokenize the web. That, as an entrepreneur, just gets the gears going. And what can you build? It's whatever you dream up, you can do here.
This is so good. If everyone would just go to the bottom of your handheld device and tweet out this room. This is such good stuff. I even understand some of it.
So
let's be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I have Apple products. Apple products you can't mess up. That's so I'm definitely not the tech guy. That's for sure.
So John, with HivePay, if I
Mhm.
wanted to put HivePay on my WordPress site, could I do
Mhm.
that?
Yep.
How would I
Yeah.
do it?
Well, we had and Blaine might be better to answer this than me because he's definitely the tech guy. But we had an app. It wasn't Shop. We were trying to get Shopify, and Shopify basically shut it down. But we worked with WooCommerce, and they had a little app, a little plugin that HivePay worked seamlessly with. So, but it's literally a copy and paste code. Just like if you remember how PayPal was literally, do you want to sell something? Copy and paste this code and stick it on your website. It's the exact same
Right.
thing with HivePay. It's literally copy this code, and then you, in the back end, you decide what you want. Do you want to accept HBD? Do you want to accept Hive? Do you want to accept Leo? Do you want to accept CTP, our token? Do you want to accept any token you really want in the ecosystem? You can. It's copy and paste simple.
So if I understand it correctly, any of the level 2 tokens that have um, value on the market will
Yep.
be found in Hive or
Yep.
HivePay.
Pretty much. Yeah. The majority of them are. Like, there's a few that we, like Splinterlands land and stuff like that, like, asset tokens like that.
Yeah.
No one, but generally, pretty much, it's whatever you want to accept, you can.
Like, for example, the Dream token has value in the market, so it could be used in HivePay.
It's if it's there, it's listed and it's got volume, it should be good to go. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and that was really important for us because of the PayPal stuff, and so
Well, what I like about it, the way you've done it, is it's fairly seamless. If you've got a token and you get the token work up that it's got some value and it's got some volume, it's going to slide itself into HivePay, and you don't have to go to you guys and go, "Hey, will you list me, please?"
yeah, and that's I mean, something that they call me Dan, and Starkers from the Speak Network and Three Speak have said over and over and over again, and I absolutely love. It's like every single project in crypto begins centralized. It's what you do with it after that matters.
Yeah.
So, like Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto was the first guy, right, or whatever he was. We don't even know, but that was very centralized. It was just Satoshi that had it, and then you know Hive, same thing. CTP, our token. Everything starts centralized. What you do with it after. So our goal for HivePay is not to be like the be all end all. It's basically, okay, guys, here, plug into whatever you want. Here you go. Here, you can basically put in your token and create value in the ecosystem that you want for your project using HivePay. And that's what we love. We love the whole idea of that for entrepreneurs.
So I'm the low tech redneck here.
Mm.
So does that mean that that it's open source? Is that the same thing?
It's not necessarily open source to the but it is because well, I don't know. We have the documents inside of HivePay that basically shows you the entire code that you can plug in, and the developer we have the information for people. So yeah, and Blaine just sent me a note. He said all tokens accepted are listed on the site. So it's any token with value can be used in HivePay. So yeah, it's not open source to the where it doesn't have a GitHub and all that stuff, but it does. We do have the documentation there where people can use it done. Our biggest customer is HashKings, the very popular game on Hive. They use HivePay all the time, and they've been using it for months and months and months. But they tailor make it to how they need it for their platform.
So that one, this brain baby is called what? Because I wanna make sure that I understand the whole John G. Olson, constellation of brain babies.
Oh, geez. I
So
mean,
that one is Hive Pay, right?
HivePay.io. Yeah.
Okay.
And but it all falls under Affiliate Tech is our company is Blaine, myself, and Eliana Gomez, who's actually in the chat as well. So the three of us have that, and CTP is kind of the big brand. So Click Track Profit CTP is the big brand, and under that we've got the Hive Pay app, we've got Hive Guide, we've got Start Earning Today, we've got List Nerds, and now Views. So, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some because, geez, it's yeah,
So
I wonder how
lots of
you
brain babies.
manage all of that though, because I'm listening to that and I feel exhausted listening
Yeah.
to it. And I know you're not doing this alone. It's you, it's Blaine, it's Eliana, and any number of other people who support what you're doing. But how do you manage all of that? Because you're a father of young kids. I mean, my kids are in they're grown up. They're in their late 20s and early 30s. And I find that I don't have enough hours in the day to do all the things. How do
Right.
you have all the hours in the day to do all the things?
I have a very understanding wife. Yeah, I mean, it's basically this is what I've been doing for 20 plus years of my life, building businesses online. So it's time management. I you only got 1,440 minutes a day. What do you allocate that time to? If you allocate it to watching reruns of Seinfeld on Netflix, and I'm not going to judge you, that's just where you're putting your time. That's where you're going to put your focus on. So for us, it's Blaine is pretty funny because I remember he would come in after 10 hours of work and show up and start coding and doing a live stream for our community. And then there'd be some people that would be complaining that they don't have enough time in the day, and it's like, well, we all have the same amount. Like it's just you got to time manage. You got to say what's your priority. What do you value more than the reruns of Seinfeld? I value doing my best to learn Hive, to add value to our community, and to build cool things. That's what we value most. So it's not even work. I know that's such a corny thing to say, but it's like I'm sitting there doing this, for example, talking to you guys. This isn't work. I it's like I'm going to talk about Hive and HivePay and our other project, Index, the Index token. Like that's not work for me. That's literally I love it. So it's easy for me to allocate time to this stuff.
Right. This is marketing to some extent in the business world, right? But for in if you love it, it's having a conversation with people about something that you're passionate about.
Right.
And I
Yep.
agree. I completely agree with the time management. For me, what I do is I have a handful of things that everything else has to filter through. If something new comes my way, I have to look at the 5 things that I've identified as priority in my life. And
Right.
if something new comes in, then I have to look at those 5 things and go, which one am I giving up and replacing with this new thing? And if nothing comes up to snuff, then it's a no, not no, thank you, or not at this time, or whatever. So I agree completely with time management. I think we have to set those boundaries for ourselves. And if
For
you
sure.
do something that you love, you're right. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't mean that you don't get tired. It doesn't mean that you're not exhausted at the end of the day. But the joy of doing the work, it's a totally different experience. And Hive certainly enriches that experience.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing. I love it. I love Hive. Everything about it.
So, Jennifer,
So
should we do a quick reset of the room? Because Jason has arrived and that's fun. Rachel is here, or she was here. Maybe she's still here. Um, and if we can retweet out the room so that people can go, wait, what are they talking about? They have Hive. They're talking about Hive, and they have John G. Olson. Who's that guy? I want to go and learn. And so, if you
Well,
sent out
more
the
more importantly, we're talking about the PayPal killer called HivePay.
Yes, yes. Be gone with
okay,
PayPal.
that
Yes.
is the line of the night. We're talking about the PayPal killer, Hive Pay. Dum dum dum. Yeah. So what? Well, I have to ask you this. Okay. So Jennifer has her 5 things, and Devin is in the room. And he works over at ArcTouch, and they have their methods of developing apps and developing websites. In fact, there's this new. He brought home something. I thought it was beer. It's called Liquid Death. It turns out it's a sparkling water, and so there's this massive like skull thing on the front of it. And I'm like, "Oh, that's kinda cool." And their marketing was interesting, and I always wanna ask you about marketing because sometimes, like, we're kinda goofy, we're not for everybody, but this is our room, and every single time, I always go, "Did we have fun? Did our guests have fun? Do you think they had fun? I hope they have do you think they'll come back?" We're just, like, all excited about it. Um I can't remember where I was going from there. That was one
You were having fun though.
divergence. That was one divergence too many. Oh, yes, 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 the 5 things. Jennifer's 5 things. So, my question was, and it
Mhm.
really is, I'm not just making this up now to cover myself. The question is, like, so what kind of tools or approach or Scrum or what do you use in your worky place to kinda keep things rolling in a system?
Well, I wrote this post years ago, and this is pre Steam even, and I called it vital functions. And something I learned a long time ago. I remember when I started getting into the business, and it was all told that you need to learn PHP. That's going to be the language that you're going to. So I went like a jackhole, and went down to the bookstore and bought a book on
Bookstore.
PHP. Yeah, I literally read the first page and then shut the book and said, "Okay, let's go find something else." So I learned from a very early age that my vital function was not development. Just wasn't going to be that. So for me, my vital function is creating content, um, being the Geico gecko of the company, so doing funny dances on camera and stuff, getting people excited.
TikTok?
Um, yeah, well, no, gosh, no TikTok. No, I'm good. I'm too old for TikTok. I can't get into it. I've tried, I try, but it's just you gotta really focus on your vital functions. And Blaine is really good at development. John is really good at talking and being in front of people and creating content. Eliana is amazing at dealing with customers. I don't know how she does it. If I had hair, I'd be pulling it out every single day, but she does it. She's really good at that. So that's the tools. I think the tools comes down to,
Is Eliana the customer whisperer?
amongst other things. See, this is what's amazing about being around Blaine and Eliana every day. You see where they started and what they've become. Blaine didn't know anything about blockchain. Now we're top 50 witness or something like that on Hive. I
What?
I couldn't have done that.
Blaine?
That's
Blaine's
Blaine.
over there in listener mode going, "Yeah, nothing to see here."
Yeah, well, he
Blaine?
said this is his. I'm kidding you not. He sent me a note. He said we manage it all because Blaine automates everything, and everything is in capitals. So that's basically the
As a
secret to.
shiny object word, automate.
Yes, automate. Yeah, and Eliana is now teaching herself everything about web design and layouts and graphics and stuff like that. So she's gone from using the tools that we used to use into honing her own crafts. And it's just this constant growth of people. So I think when you focus on what you're really good at and what you like doing, the tools kind of like appear for yourself. Yeah, to yourself. You start seeing what you're really good at, and you're like, okay, well, I can use this to help me get better at that, and so on and so forth. So for sure.
Well, it seems like the ethos between the 3 of you is that no one is threatened at discovering a new talent.
No, no, I'm still trying to find mine, but Eliana and Blaine have definitely got theirs.
Humility might be one. What do you think, Shadows?
Yeah, yeah,
Possibly.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I still don't. Again, That's why I have Apple products. I can't mess it up. So, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. Well, um, you have a fan there with Bobby. He likes his Apple products too. He likes his Apple products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so should we open up for questions or should we go right into views?
Well, we might want to stop at listeners.
Sorry,
I
more.
love how Shadows is pulling out every single thing for a deep dive because John G. Olson, you have so much to unpack. So you thought you were just going to talk about views. Oh no.
Oh, it's
Views
okay.
Views is like the featured headliner for this whole show.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah.
so good, Jennifer. The featured headliner.
Yepper.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Tell us about listeners. What was the
So,
concept behind it and what does it do?
yeah, it's listeners is it's actually a decade old program almost. It's been around for quite some time. It was a site that me and my previous business partner started, and it was kind of everyone loved it. But it kind of did its thing. It was automated, so it kind of existed. But as PayPal went, so did a lot of the tools that we used to own. And Blaine and I were just like, we need to resurrect this somehow. How are we going to do this? So it comes from the old Safeless and viral mailer world. And if you're not familiar with that, basically, Safeless was email marketing, but everyone agreed to get the emails. So it was very low converting emails that you'd get sent out, but it did work. It did convert. But there needed to be a change. And we were, banging our heads against the wall. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And we said, well, why don't we tokenize it? Why don't we create something? And we came up with this. Get this. Ready for this? This is what we came up with. Proof of email or proof of mail. Right? Right? Savvy. I know. So yeah, it was basically we want people to not only send emails and be rewarded, we wanted them to read the emails and be rewarded. So that was the concept.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was the concept, and it still works. It works
There's hope
flawless.
for me yet, Shadows.
Yep. And it took off like hotcakes. And then as crypto is, everyone was attached to the price, and uh, yeah, people were so worried about the price of something they didn't look at the did it work. And listeners works and continues to work, and it's amazing. And it uses two different tokens in it. It uses the native listeners token, but it also uses CTP, which is our community token, which is going to be a big focal point and is a big focal point of everything that we build on
Now,
Hive.
it looked like it was the centerpiece on a really, really long table on your Discord. And I thought, I don't know what
Yes.
I'm looking at with that, but I
Yes.
bet he will share with us what that's all about. So I saw a section on your beautiful Discord
Mhm.
um, about views, and then all these other things. I'm like, okay, I was warned that
Yeah.
they have there's different really cool stuff here. So yeah, so tell us more about CPT and what as beginners we would want to understand
Mhm.
about that.
Well,
Like,
again, sorry, go ahead. What was that?
I was just going to mention that it's CTP, Click Track Profit.
Oh, yes. Yes. CTP. Yes. Um,
Thank
so
you.
Click Track Profit again is over a decade old. It was a training platform, and it grew to astronomical success 10 years ago. It was like the one of the premier marketing hubs online. And as PayPal went, so did it. It kind of like we still had members and we still had people that were excited for it, but it needed a kick in the butt. And that's what we did. We put crypto education and learning and teaching these entrepreneurs that were online that you need to look at social media, but you also need to look at social media that's on blockchain. You need to be creating content. You need to be building your brand on blockchain. So that's what CTP is. It's basically a training hub that gently nudges people towards crypto education and using crypto for their businesses online.
What are some examples of the education? Like who's your you said your target market was like entrepreneurs
Mhm.
getting into the crypto space?
Yeah, so online entrepreneurs, mom and pop shops that want to sell their stuff on Spotify and they need to get traffic to their website. And they're going to say, okay, well, how do you get traffic to your website? And people say, oh, you need to advertise on Facebook and buy Facebook ads. It's like, sure, if you have unlimited pockets, or you can go this route. And we say, go build your brand, go network with people, talk to people on social media, engage with people, use tools like Twitter Spaces. I mean, get out there and be seen and be heard and be visible. Oh, by the way, you can actually all do this too on this little blockchain called Hive. Here's some of the apps you can check out. And so it's a gentle nudge again into, hey, yeah, you can use YouTube. It's great. You should. You should probably use YouTube, but you know what? You should probably use 3Speak too, because it's awesome. And it's on Hive. So that's kind of the way that we're doing it with CTP.
I love this quote that the late Queen Elizabeth II is known for. She's the one who said repeatedly, one must be seen to be believed.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And that's kind of your job description, isn't it? I mean, you do all these really smart, impressive things that I don't know half of, but you're the one that's out there being seen, and people like to talk to you. Doggone it, people like you.
Oh, you know, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me. Um, yeah, but this is, I mean, this is the thing. It's not complicated. To me, it's still people. It's a people business. It's people before profits, people before everything. Worry about the community and everything else will take care of itself. And if we do that, we're dandy. We're golden. And that's what's really unique about Hive. You know, why am I going to tell someone, hey, go build your brand on Instagram? Go do it. No, I'm going to tell them to go to Like2, because Like2's on Hive and it's awesome and people should use it more, because you're not going to tap in. Sure, you can tap into the market on Instagram, but it's going to take you a long time. Why not plug in using like an app like Like2, for example, but also the Hive ecosystem, which is true decentralization, true Web3. It's what everyone talks about, and now it's really here. So let's just start using it and see what happens.
We have a place for that. It's called Hive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hive,
So
you should check it out.
I was just putting some words together for copy, and I'm like, oh gosh, I know that there's a lot of dApps with Hive, so I better not be saying that Views is the latest one, because I saw an interview with you from around Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I don't know when this launched. I don't know who else has launched since then. What is
Yeah.
the rate of debut of new dApps to Hive?
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. Again, I think that's what's so awesome about Hive is that it caters to the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur doesn't look for permission. You know, they might look for forgiveness after they've done something, but they don't ask for permission. They just do it. So you have everything, and what's really cool too is that people are always improving their apps. Like we today on the Cryptomaniacs podcast, we had Nathan from DBuzz on, and DBuzz has been around for 3 years, but they're about to launch their 4th version of DBuzz, which is awesome to see. Like it's always, they're not trying to launch something new. They're trying to improve on what they got. And that fits with what we do on CTP. We don't try to launch new things all the time. We're more interested in improving. That's why List Nerds wasn't a brand new program. It was a 10-year-old program. It just got a facelift. So, and then I say that, and then, hey, we just launched Views. But it's a different story. Yeah.
So did Views come after List Nerds, or was there something else in between?
No, that came up after List Nerds. Yeah, Views was after List Notes. Yeah, and Views is technically still in beta. I mean, it hasn't really launched yet because it has, but it's the beta version. So there's still tons to come. Right now, it's just like a shell of what's coming.
So if we want to try Views, and we've never been part of a beta project, what's that like for someone who's never done one before?
Well, it's the big thing for us is that we want people using it, because the way that this thing works is the more people that actually use it, the better it gets, because it's using machine learning. So the more that you use it, well, I'll go back in time, and we're going to do the back in time. Think Stumble Upon, if anyone remembers Stumble Upon.
And I remember Stumble Upon.
It was what was so cool about Stumble Upon, if you remember it, was the more sites and videos and infographics and memes and whatever, book reviews, whatever, the more of it that you liked, the better the content got. So it got to a point, I remember personally, where I couldn't stop printing the infographics I saw, seeing the recommended books, and I'd run to the bookstore that afternoon to get it because I saw it on StumblePoint. Like, it just kept getting better and better and better. So this idea for content discovery is something Blaine and I have been wanting to do since day one on Steam. Um, we even called it Steam Views back then. And so the more you use this thing, the more content you engage with, the more content you actually enjoy. It's going to keep pumping out more and more content that you're actually going to want to engage with. You're going to actually want to be a part of, and share, and comment. And that was what the genesis, the idea for Views was, is just to create a program that just got better and better the more you used it. And
So,
yeah.
if I understand the very basics of this,
Mhm.
one of the things that I noticed that was, like, that looked so drastically dras never mind, that looked different from from Web 2 is there was this sense of, "Oh, I see a lot more international languages. That's cool. So
Right.
I'm gonna see other viewpoints if I could read that."
Mhm.
So, there is am I saying this right? There's not an algorithm on Hive that serves up your preferences.
Right. So on Hive, the only way you get to see stuff is if you basically like someone, so they're on your following feed, or you go to like the trending topics or the hot topics or the promoted topics. There's no real way to necessarily find exactly what you're looking for. So yeah, it's definitely content discovery for the blockchain, and it's just going to get smarter and smarter the more it's used.
Well, I liked being able to try my hand. Now, I could have gotten it so wrong, which is
Mhm.
also part of what makes the show fun because sometimes I get it so wrong, it's hilarious. But the being able to express what views is and how it works in 2 emojis made me super happy.
Yes.
Was that even remotely accurate? That how views works is you see a piece of content and you thumbs up or you thumbs down, but
Yeah.
that's your own private ride. That's your
Yes.
own air conditioning and heating and music and whatever inside your own car.
Exactly.
Nobody ever knows.
Yep, and that's exactly what we want, because there's we plugged it into Hive because it's right now it's the Hive content. But when you're thumbing something up or thumbing something down, all you're doing, you're not giving that person an upvote or downvote. You're basically telling Views that this is content I like. Thumb it up. I want to see more of stuff like this. Okay, cool. I'm going to thumb this down because I love the Chinese people, but I don't understand Chinese language, so I'm just going to thumb it down. Not that I don't think your content is great. It's not for me.
And
It's
what was
so
your inspiration for that? Because I can't help thinking about, Netflix and Amazon Prime. We use that thumb up, thumb down all the time, and aside from that, it's their algorithm that's gonna tell us what we're gonna see.
right. And this to us, this comes, the entire inspiration for this comes from a stumble upon model where it was the exact same thing, thumb ups and thumbs down. So the more stuff that you thumbs up, it told the algorithm this person likes this stuff. So we're just gonna okay, what was it? And we have an algorithm that it's not just the topic that you put, it's not just the tag you put. It's got, it takes into account the headline, it takes into account the community it's a part of, it takes into account what you've liked in the past. So there's so much data. And again, this is why Blaine gets paid the big bucks, and he's definitely the brains of the operation. But he's got it to where this is just gonna eventually, it takes about 30 minutes of you using it to where it's just spitting out
What?
content. Yeah, spitting out content that you're gonna love. So, but again, this is beta, so that's why we need people using it, because we need the machine learning to learn more and more and more, so it gets smarter. So you're just constantly getting the best content possible. So your
I'm
experience, yeah.
so right now, so I have played around with it in a limited fashion. I haven't gone all in because I
Mhm.
wanted to kind of just see what it was all about.
Mhm.
And some of the posts that I got were older. It
Yep.
doesn't mean that the content wasn't good, But I thought, oh, this is really good. So I not only wanted to give it a thumbs up for my own personal training of the machine learning, but I
Right.
also wanted to then go and give them an upvote to let them know. But then it'd be like, nope, it's past time. So then I'm like, that means I need to give them a tip. And I kind of feel like if that's going to be the case, because just because it's old content doesn't mean that it's not good content,
Mhm.
that maybe there should be some additional languaging or understanding that within the views that tipping is more along the lines of what that community or that DApp is going to be like, because I don't think tipping is the go-to for most of us.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, right
Maybe
now.
that's just me.
Yeah, no, no, I hear what you're saying, and that's one of the reasons why, when we get this thing fully launched, it's gonna incorporate we're gonna go all the way back to the Genesis block. Like, right now, it's only in the 7 days. So, it might have paid out and you might have saw a 7-day post, but
Mm,
generally, right now, views is only showing within the payment window. But when we
mm,
get it to launch, full launch, we will go back to the Genesis block. And that opens up, just like you said, well, what do you do? How do you do it? Well, tipping. I mean, that's kind of the okay, let's tip, but it doesn't really work that way on Hive. Like, everyone's not it's not in their head to do the tipping. They want upvotes. So we've got to come up with a way, which we're working on, a way to not only tokenize the experience but also reward older content. So that's
mm.
coming. I hate
So is
being
it
one of
kind of
those
like an
guys.
ecency thing with the tip, how you get points? Like for Heartbeater, I'm not telling you to do that, but so you
Mhm.
get points for the actions that you take the longer that you're there.
Well, we don't have the tokenization yet. Like, this is why it's still beta. We're still just trying to get the thing to work properly. Like,
Hmm.
once we were told, and Blaine is actually putting it on another framework, which is really cool. I mean, right, we're going to be able to scale this thing to infinity and beyond once this new framework is in place. But all of that is coming in the next model. Like, right now, none of that's there. Like, so there's no, if you use it, it's not saying, oh, you got a point for doing this. Right now, if you're using it, it's helping the machine understand what you like and what you don't like.
But we're good
So
community stewards of the blockchain, so it's up to us to, if we want more of what you're saying, we need to invest more of our time into helping it get better.
right, well, that's it's funny because Blaine told everyone yesterday in our stream, like, out of the thousands and thousands of views that people have done, it's like Taskmaster 4450 and myself, we're like 70% of it because I'm literally sitting there all day on views. Like, I'm a degenerate when it comes to this stuff because I absolutely love it. This is my baby. Like, Blaine will just be like, okay, dude, like, oh, what else do you want? Like, oh, I want to do something else, but I'm like, views is my thing because this has been a dream of mine for years and years. So,
So what does your feed look like as a result of using views? It's gotta be pretty laser focused by
yeah,
now, right?
a lot of coffee stuff.
Oh,
A lot of,
Jennifer
yeah,
hears you.
Oh
yeah.
my.
There's a lot of cool coffee content on Hive, and I had no idea until I started using views.
Well,
So
the
that
Cinnamon
tells me
Cup coffee community is pretty rocking.
I didn't know it existed until
Mm,
views. I didn't know. And the reason it did is because it starts spitting out people I follow, and someone I followed, oh, they had a coffee thing. So if I liked it, tipped and sent an upvote to them, okay, views spits me out another coffee thing. And then all of a sudden I learned about this cinnamon coffee. I was like, oh my gosh, this is
mm-hmm.
great. So
It's
yeah,
global. It's amazing. I mean, I've learned recipes that I'm like, I didn't even know that existed. I must try
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. It's fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it. So it's a lot of that. Definitely a lot of that. A lot of entrepreneur stuff too, because obviously that's my thing is entrepreneurship and online business. So a lot of that content I get. But it's pretty cool. I don't thumb down on a lot of stuff. You know, um, I thumb up a lot of stuff, and then tip stuff. Not tip, excuse me, upvote stuff as well.
But I
So
like that you can go next, that you don't have to,
yep,
you
yep,
can just say, I don't really want to vote up or down, and I'd rather just go to the next thing. I like that.
yep, absolutely. And that was really important too, because sometimes people just have that feeling where they're not necessarily like it or dislike it. They just next. So yeah, you
Oh,
got that choice too. You don't need to upvote if you don't want.
I really
Mhm.
like that because I was over here going, "Well, it's binary, so
Mhm.
there's no middle ground, but there's a next button.
Yes. Yep.
So there is a middle ground." So if you go,
Yes. Yes.
"Meh, meh," then it's all good. It's all
Yep.
good.
Mhm.
You don't have karma coming after you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So to reset our room, Jeremy has joined us. We're so glad that you're here. Um, let's see. And oh, the folks from Hive Keychain have come.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, we actually we have Elmer in here from Like2, which is like my favorite app on Hive right now. And obviously Keychain is just, and if you want, and this is one of the things that we had to make sure of with Views is that it has to be mobile friendly. And the way to use this seamlessly is with the Hive Keychain mobile app and the browser and Hive Key. It's Views looks amazing in it. And that was so important for Blaine and I to have this really looking great in mobile.
That's how I saw it. But in the middle of the night, this was like between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm like, oh no, my chest feels tight. John G. Olson's coming. I was I was like, okay, I hope I hope that this will work for me on mobile, on the
Yeah.
handheld device.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it did. But when you do things in the middle of the night last night, you can just like kind of forget. So Jennifer the next day, she was like, now make sure that you try it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, try views? Oh, okay, I will, Jennifer. Okay, I will. I'll make sure I do my homework. Wait a minute. I
Nice.
did it for 2 hours last night.
You know, I really think Alexander would have been calmer if King Charles was visiting the space.
Well, yeah, probably. So now
I
I know about I didn't know about Like 2 before. Now,
Right.
Jennifer, did you know about Like 2?
I'm a big Like2 fan, huge.
Can you explain it to us?
Well, Like2 is here. Couldn't they explain it? Or we should probably bring them. Like2, we would like to invite you to come talk to us in Hive Space. You have formally been invited. Please schedule with Alessandra Shadows or myself.
And while we're at it,
Perfect.
we should also talk about Keychain.
Hive Keychain, you have been invited to join the Hive Space in the future. Please talk to Alessandra Shadows or myself to coordinate your day and time.
Literally.
So this this space has actually been responsible for quite a few people signing on to Hive.
Oh
And
my
needless to
gosh,
say, one of the
Stuart
first things they get
has never
told,
come back.
he's active. He publishes almost every day.
But he
Oh,
has never come
Stuart?
back to Twitter. He has never come back to Twitter. He's all
That's
about Hive
true.
now.
That's true. But one of the first things we do tell everyone that has signed up to Hive is they need Hive Keychain.
Yes.
Yep.
A must. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely love it. It's like I can't even. I feel like if you ever listen to my podcast, one of the things that the running joke is how much I detest all things Ethereum, including but not limited to MetaMask. Like just it's the spawn of Satan in my opinion.
Oh, I
And
just ditched it from my iPad. I'm like, I
oh
couldn't use that, and I'm never going to use that in
no,
having to do with
no.
Hive. So
We're
bye
so
bye.
spoiled. Yeah, we're so spoiled with Keychain. Keychain is just this seamless,
Mhm.
perfect
It's
app that
beautiful.
works every time. And
So
then
my
people are like, oh,
frustration factor is when
Yeah.
we have to sign to a DApp that makes us not use Hive Keychain, and I'm like, ah, crap. What's the password to that other thing?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
'Cause that's enough to somebody lose their religion over what? I can't. But my Hive keychain.
It does it all.
yeah.
So, John, we're rounding out, and we don't want to take any more of your time. So, what is the one, two, or three things that we absolutely should know about views that we can't miss, that we must do, that we've got to just pants on fire, go do it now?
Keep using it. That's the big thing. Again, it's beta, so we're looking for bugs. If you see any bugs, there's a big yellow orange report bug feature on the top that you can just report. You can leave feedback right inside your dashboard. Uh, Understand that it is beta, so this is not what it's going to look like. This is just the bare bones. Blaine just wanted to get something up so we can use it. So
It's the
Eliana, myself,
MVP.
yes, it is the
Mhm.
MVP. Yes, that's what the professionals say, right? It's the MVP.
And the
Yes,
the ArcTouch folk, they
But it's
say minimal lovable product.
but
yes,
it's
yeah,
it's also building in public. It's a beautiful thing to build in public because we're cheering you on. We're part of
yes,
your journey. We want you to be successful, and we don't mind that maybe there's bumps and bruises and scratches on the side. We'll go get some paint and we'll go get some stuff to fill it in because we want that success. So I think building in public is very powerful.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
And this is the best thing about community, you know. I win if this Twitter Spaces wins. You know, I win if Like Two wins. I win if Keychain wins. We all win if Hive does good. So it's like just help each other. It's like, I don't understand that. Yeah. Anyways.
So on that note, John, I heard you
Yep.
talking about how when you get further along with views, that it's going to go back to the Genesis block and start
Yep.
pulling in the older ones. Are you aware of a DApp called Buy Me Berries?
Yes, I've heard of it. I've never used it, but I've heard of it. Yes.
I
Yes.
have played with it a bit, and actually I should use it more
What
because
is it
really
similar to, Mr.
it's
Shadows?
very similar to Buy Me a Coffee or Kofi on the web too.
Okay. Awesome.
So if people could set themselves up that their older content was automatically ready to receive tips by
Right.
putting Buy Me Berries into their content. And I need to be doing that instead of just talking about it.
That's a really good. I'm actually going to write that down as a, hey, John, you should probably do this tonight. Yeah. Thank you for the kick in the butt. I
It's
appreciate it.
it's very easy to set up.
Awesome. Yeah.
It
I
was
have
really
no
funny.
idea who developed it, but it's easy to set up.
Yeah, we would like to know who developed it, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Get to know the brains behind the brain babies of Hive.
Yeah. There's a lot. Hive is filled with a lot of smart people, and it's awesome to see. And now we're seeing more and more entrepreneurs, and I think that's the perfect mix. You're seeing entrepreneurs, you're seeing developers come together. It's beautiful.
Well, I love it that you brought your friends with you. I love it that you brought Blaine and that you brought Eliana and that Hive Hive Keychain came. So yes, I'm gonna hit you up, Keys. I'm gonna hit you
Don't
up for
don't forget
coming
Elmer.
to the show. And then who?
Elmer.
And Elmer with Like 2. Yeah, because I don't know anything. I get to play with Like 2 now. So here's Don over here with his notes about the Buy Me Berries thing, and I'm over here like, okay, first of all, it's spelled capital LIKETU.
You. Yep.
So my understanding is Like 2 is the Instagram of the blockchain.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I'd say it's superior, but I'm very biased. But yeah.
I
Yeah.
onboarded someone today and showed them Like Two and told them that this is Instagram-ish, except
Yeah.
it's more global because I'm seeing everything, whereas on Instagram, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be limited on what Instagram
Oh,
thinks I should see,
Instagram. Just
and I
Yes.
love
ads.
being able to see everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question. So if I'm on Like 2, can I use views to influence what I'm going to receive back via machine learning for my
Yep.
feed?
Yep. Yep. And Like to is one of the tags that you can select as a category. And I like things all the time on views. So views is not content creation where Like to would be a content creation front end. And then content, eating is what you do on views. You just eat all the content. And then yeah, you can definitely like stuff on views.
So on views, we can do the YouTube, which is 3Speak. We
Mhm.
can do the microblogging debuzz, which is like Twitter.
Yep.
So that's what I learned tonight is Like 2. I did not know that. That's so cool. So cool. And what are some other easy trade-offs between Web 2 and Web 3 that you all can think of? And
Well, I
we
mean,
can
yeah, the no-brainer is going to Peak D or one of the front ends to write instead of going to like Medium or Substack. Like just go to Peak D and write, and then plug right into the community. That's the first one that I think of.
Or you could be going to Vim like I am
Right. Yep.
tonight
Yep.
instead of Twitch.
yeah, so tell everybody,
Yep.
Jennifer, where all are we being broadcast to at this moment?
Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Vim. 5 places.
The 5 things. We're in the 5 places. And lordy, lordy, John, our Jennifer made an advertisement for the show tonight and posted it to Twitter and to LinkedIn. Did you see it? Did you see the commercial?
I have. I'm sure I have, but I don't
Let's
remember
throw
exactly.
that gem. I mean, she comes out of the gate and runs a perfect race. I'm like, how did she do that? Dadgummit, how did she do that? But she said that she's gonna give Shadows and me a chance to that we'll take turns and we'll each do it once a week. So I'm like, oh my God, what software am I gonna have to learn? Bobby, help me. What software am I gonna have to learn to do this? But it's, you know, it's fun that's coming up with stuff. So there are those of us, those of you who build the things. There are those of you, those of us that also think up the things. Like, you know what we really need is,
Mhm.
and in community, we come up with these things like, oh, I can't help you with your PHP, but I can help you. I can help out in your beta.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
don't have to. This is what I love about being part of betas. When I'm part of betas, if I am using that tool and something goes wrong, there's a chance it's not me.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I again, I'm gassing up Blaine here, but Blaine creates things that are pretty solid. But there is the report bug function because I am famous for messing things up too. So
Oh
Blaine,
man,
yeah, yeah,
Alexander and John.
yeah, yeah.
So Shadows, how should we wrap up with John, and then we'll let John kind of put the cherry on top of his wonderful, wonderful appearance with us here on Hive Space.
Well, I have a suspicion that we could probably fill another hour or two with John at some point.
Yeah.
I never shut up. So yeah,
So
Yeah, well,
oh,
you've done pretty good at shutting up. By the
yeah.
way, John, I would like to make a request that you add dreamers to your tags on views.
Well,
DR.
yeah, it's actually like it's not us that does that. That's all
How do they
just
go in?
pulling. It just goes in if
Yeah.
people start liking stuff from that
Oh,
community. They'll just start feeding into the tags.
so those of us
Yeah,
here in this community could
and you can,
affect, by the way of the machine learning, the appearance of the dreamers' content.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you can search for it right in there. Let me just see if I can see it. It's Dreamers or Dreamport or what was it?
Dreamers with 2 E's.
Dreamers.
They don't actually use Dreamports. They use that Dreamers.
Okay, I'll see. Yeah, so there's the type to add. So if it's in there, the categories it'll populate and you'll be able to just pick it. But
Nice.
like yeah, it's all there. It's pulling from it's nothing that we're doing. That's all
Mm-hmm.
topics that are just being pulled from people that are using this. So yeah.
Ah, so we need to fill the Dreamers in that they need to go and look.
Yes, yes. So it's
Aha.
Dreamer or Dreamers. Yeah, it's right there. So Dreamers. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just start typing it out and it'll autofill. And then you just click add, and I just added it. So now I'm going to start getting Dreamers content.
Nice.
So
And
yeah,
that will be a variety of content.
nice, nice.
Probably some fiction this month since they're collaborating with Inkwell.
Nice.
So if there's a
And when you circle around to November of 2023, it will maybe, cross my fingers, be podcasting again.
Yes. I think that you won't have any trouble on convincing Dreamy on that one.
oh yeah. I mean, we've seen podcasts just bloom, and we've seen YouTube channels like, oh, if I can podcast, I can YouTube. Just have to do hair and makeup and then we're on.
So we
Three,
need to
two,
make
one.
those 3Speak channels too.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
And we can use views for that as well.
Absolutely. You can use views if you put your YouTube video on a Hive post. It'll show up in views. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know that there's much call for clarinet karaoke.
You'd be surprised. The amount of cat videos I see and what people do with their cats is amazing. So you never
Oh.
know. Catter
Sha-
So
days.
there you go. A clarinet, karaoke, and a karat cat.
And
What a
cats.
combination.
There we go. Yeah. So, Jennifer, what do you have for John? How would you like to have your last request for or whatever?
Well, I just want to thank John for taking the time to sit down with us and really give us the 411 on not just views, but really everything, this body of work that he and Blaine and now my mind just went
Eliana, yeah.
Eliana.
Yeah.
Eliana
Yeah.
have created together over time. And I think that's the real key here. It's really easy to look at what John and his team are doing and go, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. I can't believe they're doing all these amazing things. And they are amazing things, but it's something that they've been doing over time. And so if you're looking at
Right.
your body of work on Hive and you're like, ooh, it's kind of paltry, it's not much there, give yourself a break and just move forward and continue to develop and grow your community within Hive. And if you have an idea for a DApp or you have an idea for something that can help make an existing DApp better, reach out to the developers, follow them on Discord. The really great thing about what's happening within the Hive community, and I really stress that community aspect of it, is that it is something that we are all invested in and we all have the opportunity to have a voice and to make an impact. So don't be shy, give yourself time, dig in, and have some fun.
I love
Absolutely.
that. You know, the way that Shadows ends her Pimp Your Post Thursday, her live curation show that happens every Thursday, is she says it's all about community. And then
Mhm.
I hear the same thing from everybody that I have met on Hive. And it seems like you and Eliana and Blaine, like you have this deep relationship that goes back. So it's not just about community, it's about trustworthy relationships, people that
Mhm.
are going to stick around. And I love that so much. And
And
I'm just,
one of the other cool things about the way the Hive community works is that you've got smaller communities like CTP or Dreamport or Keychain or whatever communities form, but we're all part of that big community called Hive. And
Absolutely.
God help anyone who tries to take it apart.
Yeah. We've seen what happens.
them's
Exactly.
fighting words.
Yeah, see what happens. We'll just fork. We'll fork you. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll fork you.
Yeah.
Like The Good Place.
Yeah.
Have you seen that TV series? I think it's like half an hour long or something called The Good Place. And
Hmm.
there are lots of beautiful memes that are available where um, that operative word of being forked makes for a better Twitter day. I just have to say, John, it has been such a pleasure. I'm really, really glad that I didn't do anything silly with my shaking hands like I've been known to do. I have unplugged our space, and unlike Clubhouse, on Twitter Spaces, if the host goes, the whole shooting match goes.
Nice.
I'm really glad that didn't happen tonight, and I'm really glad to meet your friends and your developers and your business partners, the folks at Hive Keychain and Elmer with Like Two. I can't wait to have you on the show, and everybody who comes that we look forward to seeing Dr. A, we look forward to seeing Devin and Angel and Jason. We got to see you again for the first time since I think the holidays. And Michael is new to me. Brent is going to be one of our speakers in February. We're going to talk about accessibility in the blockchain. So that's going to be fun. And Jeremy, thanks for coming. And if there's others that are, I can't, if you're connected by your laptop or desktop, you have permission to lurk. We do not know that you're there.
Is it next week we have D-Buzz?
It is, isn't it?
Nice.
That's Chris Rice. And you said, John, you
Nathan.
already,
Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris
Nathan.
Rice and Nathan both.
And Nathan, I haven't
Nice.
met Nathan yet. So I'll have to find Nathan over in the D-Buzz Discord and meet him. So now I have a new technique of many of these dApps have Discord servers. So you can
Mhm.
get to know the people behind the product. You get to know more about the beta, like how is it that what's the most useful information that you can give to them if you think you've discovered a bug,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Big orange button. Yeah.
Big orange button. And how
Yeah.
did I just have to ask this because one of the things that I do is color design and color forecasting. How did you choose that particular orange?
Oh, God. As much as I'd like to say that it's color theory and I did a big, college paper on it, no, that was just Blaine sticking it up there as orange. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's Blaine's favorite color.
Yeah.
Well, we of course it's one of our faves with Creative Work Hour, the daily group of creatives that get together. Some people are coding and some people are working out dialogue on a screenplay. I mean, there's
Yep.
all sorts of creative people. And the thing that we love about the color orange is the core color of creativity.
There you go. I love the color orange too. Just I mean, the Views logo is orange, and just everything about that just kind of exudes get up and get to work. So that's kind of what.
Gotta get up,
Yeah.
gotta get out.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We had a wonderful, fun show. And John, please tell us that you'll be open to coming back and
Oh,
seeing us
for
again.
sure.
We would love to hear
Absolutely.
from Blaine. We would love to have a dev behind the mic. That would be
We
I
good.
off.
will harass him. He will definitely come. So yeah,
He
he
was
will
And
offered
definitely.
the mic tonight, but he stayed in behind the scenes.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah,
and I was sending a mic over to Eliana. And she's like, I got my emoji button. I'm good right here. But maybe Eliana will help us by coming on mic next time as
yeah.
part of the. And what is the name of the umbrella company?
Affiliate Tech is
Aff-
the name of it. Yeah,
Affiliate Tech.
yeah.
And
Yep.
is that the old name
Nope, that's the new
before?
one. That's the
That's the
that's the new one. Yep, that's the new name of the company. So it's we started that a couple years ago. So, yep.
Love it. Well, congratulations on all that you're creating, all that you're launching, all that you have in beta. And we really do want to support what you're doing. So we'll be tinkering around with our own version of see what we get from your 5 cent machine learning game.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, you're most
Good to see you
welcome.
again.
For sure.
Okay, well, that's our show tonight, guys. You have joined me, Alessandra White, as your host on Hive Space here on Twitter Spaces. I am joined by my very professional, beautiful coaches, not coaches, hosts, co-hosts, coaches, Shadows Pub and Jennifer Devarati, who is also known as ePodcaster, both in the Web 2 and Web 3 worlds. You find us how you find us here. Our names are how we appear everywhere. So thanks for joining us tonight. We love you for it, and we love learning with you. And as our motto is, Jennifer, go for it. What's our motto?
Learn, share, grow.
Yay!
Yay.
If I had that little tool with all the yay, I would do that, but I don't.
Oh, here we go.
Are we fortunate?
Learn, share, grow. Is it there? Did I miss it? I think I missed it, Shadows.
I think she's still recording.
Wait, doesn't somebody have to say goodnight?
Somebody
Say
does
goodnight,
have to.
Wilma. Good night, Wilma.
Good
Good
night,
night,
Wilma.
Wilma.
Doing?
Angel, I'm so glad that you and Wilma are getting along so beautifully. Good night,
Look
good night,
to the way
everybody.